Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of your Wheel and Anchor weekly newsletter. Coming to you this week from just outside the town of Cortona in the southern part of Tuscany in Italy. We arrived here after wrapping up our recent Live Away program to Cyprus, which was a great success. Trip started out a little bit cool, but we had some beautiful weather at the end, took in some amazing sights and ate all that delicious food. And I'm just on my way up to do the next group. We have a small group joining us in Florence, Italy, and I wanted to stop here in Cortona. But first of all, if you are a new member, we've had quite a few new members join us in the last couple of weeks. I'd like to welcome you to Wheel and Anchor. And in fact, in this week's edition of our newsletter, I'm going to be answering a few of the questions that some of our members have posed. So I do this from time to time in our newsletters because of course, those who are not familiar to us, haven't been getting our newsletter, might want to know a little bit about who we are, what we're about, and how we're different from other organizations in the tour and travel space. And so let me address a few of your questions. And of course, if you ever have questions, you're welcome to email us at any time. These questions come from the new member questionnaire that those who join us fill in at the beginning. First of all, from Angela in Humber Village, Newfoundland. Angela asks how many trips that we do per year. Well, it's a good question, Angela. We are just in the midst of ramping back up after 2 years of COVID, where of course we couldn't run any trips at all. And so we anticipate this year in 2022 to run around 20 trips. But next year, we're hoping to roughly double that number. And of course, when we say how many trips, our type of trips differentiate a little bit because we have trips that are longer in duration, our so-called live-aways, where you go away for 4 weeks or longer to a particular destination. And so the number of trips, as I say, depends on the type of trip that we do. But we are looking to ramp up the number that we do because I know there's a lot of pent-up demand from our members who have been stuck at home for the last 2 years. Next question, Linda from Iroquois, Ontario asked, do we take care of our groups right from the get-go? In other words, right from the airport? Well, actually, our group is really dedicated to folks who are travelers. And so I know that some tour companies will arrange to pick you up at home and meet you at the airport and help you get on the plane. But we're the type of members that we have at Wheel and Anchor are those who've traveled quite a bit already in the past. And so they're comfortable getting to the destination on their own. And so what it means is that it enables you to choose your own flight routes, so how you get to the destination, which a lot of our members like because sometimes they have preferred airlines or they have frequent flyer miles or they have some other reason that they like to fly at a certain time in a certain way. And so it means that you don't have to go with the entire group and fulfill all of the rather onerous airline group travel rules that exist, which frankly aren't very passenger friendly. And so we do take care of you in the sense that on any trip, you're always met by a local representative who will bring you from the airport to the hotel where you'll meet our host and the rest of the group. And so you're well taken care of. But I would say that we are not a company that specializes in sort of babysitting people from the moment you leave your front door. I have a question here from Dave in Sharbot Lake, Ontario. And Dave asks how long we've been in business. Well, Dave, we actually started Wheel and Anchor about 5 years ago this summer. Myself, I've been doing the travel industry for 31 years now. It's hard to believe. And my team also has extensive experience. So although the company is relatively new, we've been around travel for a long time. We bring lots of experience to the table, and we're a very international team, as many of our members will know. Our core team members are scattered all around the globe, which certainly adds a very international dynamic. And Jane from Pickering, Ontario asks, what extraordinary tours do we have? Well, Jane, I think that all of our tours are extraordinary, but of course that would be the obvious thing to say. But it really depends on what your definition of extraordinary. As I mentioned earlier, we have some unique approaches to travel, particularly in that I have a belief in slower travel, longer stay travel. And though on that basis, we developed our Live Away programs, which is a month-long getaway to a destination, sometimes 2 spots in a given country or a region, that enables you to really immerse yourself into the local culture, the local food, meeting people, and also having a relaxing time, which, let's face it, that's part of what has been missing for travel for a lot of people. But beyond that, if you want to talk about exotic tours, we have some very interesting ones coming up over the next year. We're off to Namibia and Botswana in southern Africa, 2 of my absolute favorite countries for the safari experience. We have a Live Away program in Bali, Indonesia. We're going to be spending a month there in March of next year. We've also got a sailing program, a yacht program in Tahiti, in French Polynesia, that's happening this coming November. We've got an expedition cruise actually up the western coast of South America, starting in Valparaiso in Chile, going all the way up to Costa Rica. We've got another one. We have an eco adventure in Costa Rica itself, happening in January, where we're going to be visiting some of the most exclusive and pristine rainforests that you can find anywhere in the world. So that's just a small taste of it. We've got many more extraordinary tours to come. We're going to be releasing some for 2023 and beyond in the course of the next several weeks. And finally, Monique from Winnipeg, Manitoba asked, how far in advance do you need to book our tours? Well, this is also a very relevant question right now. As many of you will recall, I did a newsletter several weeks back talking about the changes in the travel industry and the demand that we're seeing as a result of 2 years of people being stuck at home. And of course, the whole travel industry getting back up on its feet after the fact that there's been hardly any tourism over the last couple of years. And so the demand for travel is at pretty much unprecedented levels, or certainly levels since not seen before the pandemic. And so some of our tours for 2022 are completely sold out. Other ones, we have a little bit of space left. I'll talk about that in a second. And even looking forward to 2023, what we're finding is that, we have to go and reserve an allocation allotment of space at hotels. But if we don't start to fill that, if we don't pay them deposits in a timely enough fashion, then of course they're going to pull that back and sell it to somebody else who's ready to pay. And so that's been one of the challenges we've been finding, and why we've been urging to members, it's a good idea to book as far in advance as you can. We're trying to be as accommodating as we can with regards to our deposit and cancellation terms and conditions. I know it's a sensitive topic as well, given that some members had some real challenges and problems with the fallout of the pandemic, and so at the end of the day, it's important to us that we get you to where you want to go. And that's why we suggest that you book a trip. Popular ones like Croatia, for example, which is sold out for this year, that you book that a year in advance. We're going to be releasing the next one, for example, in 2 weeks' time. So as per usual, the more advance notice you have, the better chance you get to where you are going. And on that note, as I mentioned 2 weeks ago, we still have space on a few of our trips for this year. In Ireland, we had a number of members sign up, so there's still a spot or 2 left in June. We still have several spots for our Scandinavia and Baltics 5x5 program happening in this July, as well as for our France Kaleidoscope program that is in October. So that and other trips. And stay tuned for our new trips that are going to be released, particularly if you're a new member, if you don't see the destination you're looking for. We're working on programs, our Live Away in Sicily for next year that's going to be released. Also our trips in Japan, in India, and lots of other destinations around the world. So we're working hard. Our team is growing. And we are very excited to be able to have you on one of our trips, hopefully in the next year or so. So from here in Cortona, where there's also some space if you plan to join us, we're going to be coming here in October of this year to Tuscany as a part of our Tuscany Live Away program. This is truly a magnificent town. So if if you've thought about spending a month in Tuscany, I can highly recommend it. So take care, and we will catch up with you again next week.